Welcome to day 17 of 30 days of AL programming. And today we're going to look at how application configurations affect performance. And so these are tips and tricks on how to set up Business Central for performance and also describe how in-product configurations affect the performance of Business Central. Okay, in the few videos and today I've really looked at performance in a way, because even if a system is really performing doing whatever it's supposed to do, if the performance of a system is not as good, then the system will not be user friendly. Automatically it's no longer user friendly to the users. They'll always feel like there's something that the developer is not doing, or there's something wrong with the system.
Hii ni Tech na Msangi ya jishinde.com.
So one thing is uninstall extensions that you don't use. So any extensions that you install can affect the overall system performance. So if you have installed an app from app source but later discover that it's not needed, then just uninstall it. And the same advice applies to the extension that comes pre-installed in an environment. For example, uninstall all migration extensions after you have migrated data and you don't intend to migrate any other data. So we start first with having modular app creations. You should have apps for each module. And if you have an app that is helping you in migration, once its work is done, just uninstall it, because it frees up the system resources. The smaller the application, the better. So run things in the background. So it's often desirable to offload work from the user session to happen in the background. Examples are schedule long-running reports to run in the background, schedule jobs, for example, posting to run in the background, enable background posting in areas where your business is using reservations and item tracking using serial and lot numbers. Adjust item costs as a periodic background job. Don't adjust automatically. So leveraging background tasks really helps in improving performance, and we can make the use of job queues to be able to run background tasks and postings. And a well-built app can actually run by itself without errors. There is a way in which you can create reports and job queues to be so efficient in a way that they won't need any user intervention. In a way, use lazy loading as much as possible, in a way that if the conditions to run that particular report are not met, just exit. There's no need of having errors, especially in background tasks, because it may make the job queue to end up in errors, and there are ways to really work it out and make sure that your jobs are running well. And some of the jobs, the user can just click on maybe schedule or posts, and the scheduler will be running in the background and posting it automatically. Remember, if the user has to be there to click post, and maybe at times it is maybe sending email statements to customer, and the user has to be there to just click on that action, at times maybe it can lead to a performance bottleneck, because if they run maybe into a network error, they'll be frustrated. But a background task, even if a network error occurs, it will keep on running and running, and it is making the machine work for us. And here is the job queues. So schedule tasks on job queues, as we have just mentioned, but we should also look at how job queues run. They run too frequently. We consider how often the task or jobs need to run. So we should not really run the job queue too frequently, and mostly we look at the time interval and how long a task takes to run. If it takes 5 minutes, then the time interval can be around 10 minutes. If it takes 1 minute, it can be maybe 5 minutes or something. So they run heavy jobs while many users are also using Business Central. Consider running them outside working hours. Very important. This might decrease locking and deadlock issues, both for users and the task or the job itself. So some of these tasks, like maybe sending emails to very many customers, batch postings, end month batch postings, They can be scheduled in a way that the moment you start the day, maybe for instance, if it is ending of the month and beginning of the month and you need to do a batch posting or a posting specific to a particular customer, then the report can also be scheduled in a way that you can use the time delimiter. You say if time is between this time and this time, then run. If the time is not that time, then it will just be ignoring, and it will be running every time. When that time reaches, when the report can run, then it can be able to automatically pick up and do a very great job. And we can also we need to avoid locking, and when Business Central DB needs to have exclusive access to a table or a data row, it will issue a lock. If another session needs to be updated to access a locked resource, it needs to wait until the session holding the lock is finished with its work. So there are a few places in Business Central application where you can reduce the risk of locking, and especially for posting. That's why batch background posting should be done in the background. And actually, posting a batch is faster than posting maybe several items one by one. And so it's better to use that, and it will really avoid locking. Number series in Business Central, use number series that allow gaps. So this is something that you could consider, but really I haven't tested it, so I can't really have a very how do I say informed opinion about it. But you can, there's a setting for gaps in number series to avoid locking. So don't adjust cost items entries with too high a frequency, and be cautious of the this is another important one. Be cautious of with the rename or copy company operations. So don't copy a company in between working hours. Okay, so the operations are intended to run while business transactions are being applied to Business Central. First, the operations are likely to induce locks on the tables that data is copied from. These locks will block users from transacting in the company. The operations use resources on the database, which can in turn cause resource starvation for users working in other companies. So be really careful while copying companies, and that's why we do have the sandbox environment. Leverage it as much as possible for operations that involve those such copying, testing, and all that, and retain the minimum number of companies that are needed, but only copy companies while necessary, only when necessary. And then so periodic activities that maintain performance, block inactive customers, vendors, or items to improve filtering and searching on document data entry. So there is a blocked field on the customers and items. So if the customer is no longer needed, just do a block. You can even have a schedule to look at maybe the last time a customer transacted. Maybe if a customer there's not been a transaction with that customer maybe for the last 3 months, there's no need of that customer remaining active in a way. You can even create a field where they are archived and they are not displayed in the main customer page to just enable smooth running of operations. And then performance effect on enabling integration on a table. There's a performance overhead involved in enabling integration on an entity such as customer or contact. Only enable integration if you intend to integrate to cells. Enable it only for the required entities. And then change logging, very important. Performance effect of enabling change logging on a table. There is a performance overhead involved in having change log enabled on a table. First, there are extra rights to the database when inserting, modifying, or deleting data. Each of these operations triggers an insert statement per field that's enabled change logging. Second, the size of the change log can impact the performance of admin operations such as copy, company, export, and all that. So when working with change log entries, make sure you really look at how you have enabled. You don't need to enable all the logging of insertions, deletions for all fields. Be specific to the fields that are really required to be enabled. And I think I can go into the details of these steps. This is just a very quick overview of the performance related issues. So there is one here. The areas of the applications, these areas of the applications are known to cause a performance impact and require extra testing with realistic data setup before they are rolled out. Inventory posting, dimensions, security filtering mode, dynamic order tracking, automatic reservation, item tracking, and lot or serial number expiration dates. So they require much more testing. And if processing of a sales order lines is slow, if you experience that processing of a sales order line that contains bill of materials is slow, then check this. If stock out warning on the page sales and receivable setup is set to true. If that is the case, then change it to false. Why? Because the stock warning specifies if a warning should be displayed if a user enters a quantity on a sales document that brings the item's inventory below zero. The calculation includes all sales document lines that haven't been posted yet. Stock warning can still be used on items by setting the individual item stock warning to be true on the item card. And we can also manage database access intent. Make sure we don't have so many number of companies. I'll share a link to this performance related article on the application so that you can look at it. It's very good to read it and have more information. Tell me what you think. If you're having challenges with your performance in Business Central, share below. Contact me so that we can see what you can be able to do with it. But there are ways in which you can make your application move faster just by setups, looking at the code, the way it has been made, and looking at scheduling background, batch background task to be posted by the system, especially outside working hours. That's it for day 17 of 30 days of AL programming. I will see you in day 18 of 30 days of AL programming.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so that you don't miss the next one.